by the next meeting.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we transfer $200,000 from school choice into the capital stabilization fund to be reconsidered. D&D is available. Is that good?
Sounds good to me. All right. Motion made. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that transfer? All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And would you like to make a second?
I can stumble through it.
Thank you.
Pretty good stumble before.
You might need the, if you have the number for Mr.
I
President.
have $60,504.
There you go. You can have that.
Around
No, you can't round down. You can't round up. It would break the count.
That's not good sense. That's
Check with the Secretary of Math.
I make a motion that we transfer from school choice $60,504 to the sped stabilization fund.
Sped reserve fund.
Sped reserve fund, thank you. Sped reserve fund. And replenishing the school choice fund when E&D becomes certified.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that transfer?
Did you say 260,000?
No, we did two separate.
Well, two separate ones.
Oh, I think it's the second amount. What was the second amount?
$60,504.
Oh, I thought,
No cents.
Okay.
All right, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of that transfer? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. All right, great. All right, so with that then, it is now 6:54. I'll take a motion to end the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on ending the public hearing on the budget? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are good. Public hearing is now closed at 6:55. It's 6:54. All right. Thank you all for that. Is there any other public participation tonight? There being none. Ms. Shandy, you are here just in time. If you'd like to take your place and give us a wonderful update on how excited you were to have a snow day yesterday.
Well, I'm so excited. I can hear everyone in April.
Oh, I saw the video too, it's funny.
Oh,
We're close in here.
No, she didn't hear the excitement.
everyone seeing is here. I can hear them in April when I think, you know.
Video was a big hit.
I know.
Scott's help. Scott was the man.
Yeah, Scott. Yeah. There he is.
Don't you have to make a new one each year?
All right, that's not how we work together, right, Scott? That was just the beginning.
You have to either sing or lift weights though the next time.
Singing.
I am here.
I like to laugh with me, not necessarily at me in the way that, you know, she really can't sing.
Sorry, Jen.
That's fine. This is the first thing on my list. Grateful for the snow day. Acknowledge that. So for March, we just have a lot of AP Saturday sessions coming up. A lot of people have recently got accepted to colleges. I don't know if you've seen on the TVs, but they just posted them up. The AP Gov class went to the State House today, and everyone that went said they had a lot of time and learned a lot about math government. And we met the senator.
Jimmy Elbridge.
And Benson.
And then Arts Night is coming up on the 13th, and there's also a band concert this week. The hockey team is currently in playoffs, and they have a game going on right now. So everyone's hoping that they win the third dance. And then spring sports are coming up, which we usually have track and field, softball and baseball, lacrosse, and this year we have unified track as an option, and then we possibly have tennis as a co-op with Brockville as an option.
First you heard
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think, you know, now I'm going in archives, I believe Mr. Kendall talking, but I think that we should be using those courts. So,
we would play here, not over, probably.
I'm not sure, I'll have to find out the details.
So like we can't have a tennis team here because to have tennis team you need 5 tennis courts and we only have 3, but Brownfield has the 5. So we co-op with them and I think we like switch out on practices. Because then we do have our tennis courts here.
We could add to the student park.
All right, great. Have you decided on your college yet?
I really wish I could, because so many of my friends have committed, but I'm super scared, and all my college, I'm still waiting on one more, so then I'm still waiting to see. But it'll probably be US Air Force. They even love it.
Yes.
USC first?
Yeah. But then everyone goes there, so I'm also
There's so many people, you'll never see people you know.
Yeah, I have two there. They're having a ball. Yeah.
My youngest son went there, and it was fantastic.
Jim, do you mind giving us a detailed report on the district arts night? So for people that are watching, they'll understand all the excitement and all the opportunity for kids. Could you describe kind of what happens?
Okay. So the elementary school kids, the middle school kids, and high school kids who, I'm not sure how it works in the other schools, but I know they do bring things and we put them up on display around the building. For high school, I know that in certain of the classes, he'll ask if you want to display your art, and then we'll just line them up and he'll make labels with their names on it. And then this year, I know that one of my friends two of my friends have art portfolio classes, so their art is going to be on display in a really big way, because they're both, one of them is going to school for architecture and he got in with his art portfolio and got a scholarship. And then I take an independent study in ceramics. So with another student, so our art is also going to be on display. And then we teach a mini crash course in ceramics that night. So we have 6 potter's wheels, and then we have them all working, and we center the pots for the kids, and then just teach them how to make a good pot. And then they can come in and it's kind of like an assembly line, and then just come in and they play with it for 10 minutes and then go to the rest of them.
It was performances.
Oh, yes, and then the performances. The band has performances, and so does chorus. Oh, and then for chorus also, Olivia Ostreicher made all state choir. Yeah, and that was really great. And I think she, I don't know, but she's a person a long time.
Yes. I went to it. It was so good.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw it on Snapchat. It was really cool.
It was really amazing. And she's eligible for nationals. So, and that's in November, so we'll keep our fingers crossed for her.
Jazz band performs at Arts Night as well, and they're actually competing tomorrow at I think it's MAGE, but it stands for Massachusetts Association of Jazz Educators out of Nipmuc Regional High School. So 6:30 tomorrow. This school is after schools ends at Nipmuc, coming through all day long. Their time slot's 6:30. And they get adjudicated, and then they get a session afterwards with the adjudicator, a private, here's where you could have done something different or better. And they get the gold, silver, bronze, or anything.
Yeah, and that's the cost in the music department. Mr. Kennery takes the kids in all these different competitions and everything, the transportation costs, and the registration fees are what drives that program. So that's why we increased it, because he was a little worried this year, and we said, no, we certainly will support that. So.
Are they still going on that trip? I don't know if it's
That the annual trip they go on every year? I don't know. I haven't heard.
They do every other year.
Every other year?
Yeah. So
they went last
did out of
year.
state last year, they do out of state next year.
Yeah, so the district arts night is a night for everyone. There's something here for everyone, and to the school committee members. The art department faculty extend to all of the faculty or anyone in the school system. If you have the art you'd like to display, a piece of work, you can bring it in. So if you have anything at home that you would like to display, you can bring it in to Mrs. Seguin here, or bring it over to me, and I'll bring it over, and I'll put your name on it, we will give it back to you. And it can be anything. So I did something the first year, I didn't do anything last year, and then when I came to the show, they said, oh, so I'm not gonna tell you what to bring, but, so it can be ceramic, it's not a video. You can do photography, whatever it is that you have.
That's good to know.
So, yeah, so if you have anything, think about it at home and let me know, and we'll get it in the show for you. They do a display room right over here. And also
And so the date, is?
The date is next, Wednesday.
March 13th.
Next week, busy week, yeah.
For the girls.
Oh,
Yeah, so we have two places though.
yeah, no, that's the problem this time of year. Because then the high school spring concert is next week too.
Right.
Next week, the 3 to 3, boom, 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 11, 12, 13.
Some exciting times.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your report. Good luck with all your AP Saturdays. Fun times on a Saturday.
Yeah.
All worth it when you don't have to take those classes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's interesting, I kind of wish I came earlier. They were like, oh, just come at 7, so the Am I allowed to take?
You are. Yes. If you have any questions, let us know. All right, thank you very much. Moving right along here. Next, we have our consent agenda this evening, which includes regular session minutes for release from February 13th, executive session minutes not for release, February 13th, joint minutes from our meeting with the Town of Shirley Finance Committee, February 26th, our accounts payable and payroll warrants, and a very generous donation of $1,000 from the Burroughs Foundation to the High School Drama Club. We thank the Burroughs Foundation for that generous donation as always. Great to see other, I haven't seen this organization come through before, so great that we have a little more benefactors of our district.
Just a note on that, the Burroughs, that was a referral by Mr. Allen, who knew the attorneys that were running the Burroughs Foundation in Littleton. So they called us and asked what we needed. And Mary Ann said we could really use this, and they said, okay, it was 1 to 5 days.
Nice.
So thank you to Alan Seamus, guys.
Good. Good. All right, so I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Again, thank you to the Burroughs Foundation and ALC McCutters for that donation. And with that, Mr. Pacheco.
Orlando is here, yay!
He's here, but the news is not bad. It's not as good as I would have wanted it to be. So, although it could get there before the end of the fiscal year. I think last time I was here was August, and I had given a brief overview of where the district was with its solar projects. The commitment of 2 million kilowatt hours, which is about 90% of what the district uses. It is a very favorable rate climate in terms of net metering credits. I believe the district is paying about 16 cents and you're getting about 20 cents credit. So all good news on that front. Just a little bit of background, it's the agreement with Seaboard, the joint agreement, Seaboard Solar Holdings, who developed the project, and Solar, who built and bought the project, has now delegated the management of the project to Blue Wave Capital. So the district is receiving bills from Blue Wave for the cost of the energy. What I think Mr. Plunkett and I are having some issues with is trying to reconcile those credits, because the bills are coming from Blue Wave, but I'm not seeing that translate on the National Grid bills. Is that a correct assessment, Mr. Plunkett?
Initially, we weren't able to reconcile. We've gotten a hold on, a handle on it now. We work with the people at Blue Wave, and we are reconciling the invoices now as they come in.
Yeah, so we're almost there. I think we'll have it all reconciled by the end of the fiscal year. Some of the savings may be off in the sense that there were 3 projects. There was 1 in Charlton and 2 in Dudley. One of the Dudley projects did not come online at full capacity. There were some infrastructure issues. So that doesn't penalize the district. The district only buys what the system produces. but the more it produces closer to that threshold, the more savings the district has. So I believe they have rectified that issue. But I think instead of getting closer to 2 million kilowatts this year, it's going to be around 1.6 million. So it's a pretty big drop in terms of the overall production aspect. I still see the district saving somewhere in the neighborhood of between $32,000 and $50,000 for the year, though. So again, I think we would have liked to have been able to pay for that boiler. I don't think we're going to get there because I don't think the production is going to be enough, even if you have a super sunny summer. Remember, your cap is June 30th, and you're going to see your best production in July and August. So it's really, you're going to get a good start into the next fiscal year. But overall, I would say credits are flowing. Administratively, I think the kinks have been worked out between developer, owner, manager, which these are things we knew would happen. I deal with this with a number of the other school districts and municipalities that I do net meter and credit agreements for. But overall, I would say very positive in terms of end of year cash flow. You know, if you budgeted $200,000 for electricity, you end up spending $150,000, you're going to be happy at the end of the year, even if it's not the guaranteed savings that we thought they'd be. They're just going to meet the minimum production number. So there's a floor production number that they have to hit, which is right around 1.6 million. I don't know if that was their motivation to make sure their infrastructure got for National Grid was not cheap because the work had to be performed by the utility. But I'm glad it all got straightened out. Yeah, the district is running primarily on clean renewable energy now, so that's a good thing.
And at really no cost to the district to be in this program.
No.
And we're just saving money.
Right now, well, and the way the net metering credits are calculated is based on the G1 rate of the utility, which is around just under 20 cents right now. And you're paying 20% less than the rest of the world is paying just because you're you. But I think it's all, I think what we'd like to do is just what I'd like to do is put a written report together at the end of the fiscal year for the superintendent and have her share that. I think there's a lot of discussion as to, the mechanics of this particular process and what the true public benefits are, because you've seen so many deals fall apart as the projects fall apart. So it's nice when it all comes full circle, and it's certainly something we want to publicize.
And will it be at the end of the fiscal year that you'll look to rebalance if necessary, or were you able to sort of balance
if we can do a part of that, I think it's going to depend on Blue Wave and making sure that their system is accurate with the agreement.
Yep.
They've taken on a number of projects in 2 different solar programs.
Okay.
So in the SMART program, the values are very different from the true net metering program. And I think that caused some confusion with their accounting software. And so I think they had to go back and recalculate some of the credits to the school district. But the allocation in terms of what was coming off the projects is correct, just confirming the values.
Yeah, I guess I was more talking about making sure that we were maximizing at each school, right? I think we can change the amount of...
Every 6 months you can change the allocations in terms of what percentage of the production goes to each facility. So yeah, no, you could easily do that.
Okay. Is that something you look into?
Yeah, because we analyze the loads of the building with the productions of the system. And if it looks like there's going to be a permanent excess, we would either look to the district to see if they have any energy efficiency projects that could be paid for with the net metering credits, which is something that happens. Or we would go back to the developer and reduce the commitment, because the credits can only be used for electric purchases. So, hey, it's not as if it's not a gift certificate in the sense that you can use it for anything. You can't get, National Grid won't give you a check for it. So you have to make sure your loads are calculated properly. We were pretty, I think we were pretty accurate when we did that the first time. And we gave ourselves a 10% cushion.
Scary to think that was, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, 2 years ago we started. August, I was here and I thought everything was going to be hunky-dory, and then, you know, I remember when they called and said, hey, we might have an issue with the Dudley project, and, you know, we just, luckily, I think when the district did its last fiscal year's budget, it didn't count on the fact that the credits would have been flowing at the time, which is good because that's not going to be an issue now. And I still, you know, I've talked to Dr. Malone, and, you know, I wouldn't make any promises in the upcoming budget until we have a better handle on what's there. So, and I spoke to the district about if we could use credits or anything of that nature to help offset things like a generator or boiler. Yeah, those particular charges can't, but if you wanted to do a lighting retrofit or install a high efficiency transformer or something like that, we could leverage excess credits to do that.
So what do you have to have for a presentation to do that? What kind of study? Or does it have to be?
So what we'll be doing is we'll be looking at the Blue Wave bills, comparing it to the inverter data that comes out of the solar array, which is what tells us the production, and we'll just make sure the values are synced up properly. The values for the net metering credits change every 6 months, so that's why we have to constantly be on top of that.
Thank you very much for keeping on top of it.
Yeah, no worries. The district is very good about making sure, you know, these things get taken care of, so. And Bill and I will exchange an email every here and there to make sure, you know, we're on top of things. If he gets something from Blue Wave that doesn't look right, he'll make sure he gives me a call, and then, you know, I'll be in direct communication with him.
Awesome.
Yeah, all good news. I was hoping to be able to tell you, hey, this is exactly what you're going to be saving, but I think until you really get that W project fully operational, which I think they've got now, so we haven't had a really good history on it, because everything was based on projections, so this is the first full year of operation.
So it is active now?
It's active now, it's going, but it hasn't had a full 12-month cycle yet for us to really get a good handle on what it will actually produce. We know it will produce the minimum it was guaranteed to produce.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Just what we're talking about. The transfer.
All right. So we have in our packets a sort of informational. Dr. Malone, do you want to talk about this? You want me to? It doesn't.
I'm sorry, you're on the informational, sure. I mean, we put in the packets, it's a new law, a regulation that relative to regional schools, whereas the regional school committee may designate any one of its members for the purpose of signing payroll warrants and account payable warrants to allow for the release of checks provided. However, that member shall make available to the board at its next meeting a record of such actions. So that's up to the committee if you want to change. Right now, I believe we have what, three come in every week. So that's completely up to the will of the committee and its members as to how we'd like to move forward. We wanted to make you aware of the new act.
But for informational purposes, I say different eyes to me is really good. You know, different people do it different ways, and I think different eyes is good. It just gives you, this is what we do, as we look at the numbers. You know, so, I don't know why they did it for regional, just because some of the people live 1,400 miles away from the region. That's probably the complaint is.
Yeah.
If you're in Ashford, yeah, in the region, it's 5 towns away to get to.
Yeah, the previous, there's I forget, there's a position that we don't have that the town has that because I had asked about electronic people and MAS since they've been regional, because there's a difference, obviously. So, anywho, so that's your information. If we decide we want to change later, we can take a vote. If we're pressing need to change right now.
Did this bill pass?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
yes. That's why I put it on informational, just to keep you updated.
All right. Dr. Malone, your superintendent's report.
Sure. The first section is on teaching and learning, submitted by Assistant Superintendent Mr. Cleary. Marks the beginning of our 2019 MCAS season. As a reminder, 2019 marks the first year where all of our students from grades 3 through 10 will be participating in the next generation MCAS. So it's all computer-based here at the high school. DESE has testing dates as they do every year. So the high school will be testing March 26th and 27th in ELA, and then May 21st, 22nd for math, and then June 4th and 5th for science, technology, and engineering. And then the students in grades 3 through 8 will take all 3 ELA, math, science, technology, and engineering from April 1st through like May 24th. So each school has already produced their schedule, and parents should be getting that information. Mr. Clear is also going to put together some resources for parents. We'll put it out on Blackboard, and we'll put it on the website for parents to support students, or if they have any questions. And we still have students at the middle school taking advantage of the extended learning program there, and we have some working in high school during the piano period. And then next, the 13th is our final PD day for the school year. And we've been aligning work with district data team to the work of curriculum leaders and our professional development. We've been able to develop our capacity in analyzing student work as a means of promoting more discourse among our teachers. In addition to this work, we will also be continuing training in a variety of areas, including our literacy collaborative, the new social studies frameworks, writing program in the middle grades, mathematical discourse and other standards of mathematical practice in the middle grades, training special education staff in analyzing and supporting student behaviors, and a host of others. So Mr. Cleary's committee, we're doing a good job aligning our work, as you can see, the district team, to our curriculum leaders, all different committees and initiatives that have been new, but we're going deeper in our understanding curriculum and using data to drive our instruction. We've already heard about the district arts night. I want to give you an update on NEASC here at the high school. It's nearing the completion of their self-study, where every member of the faculty is served on a group assigned to either write a standard 1 through 5, or to write the look back. They will be holding their final 100-minute meeting to allow all of their groups time to complete their writing and to review the feedback. And then provided to them by the NEASC steering committee here, and that committee is Mr. Guzzolini, Dr. Maya, and Mr. Christie. And the completion of the self-study, the high school will be conducting a faculty vote to accept the study before it can be submitted to NEASC, and then the high school will be hosting a NEASC collaborative conference visit on April 23rd and 24th of April. During that time, the visiting team will tour the building, meet with all key stakeholders, and visit classrooms. Mr. Quinty, to your question on the grade 8 student-led tours, the students who led tours and served in the panel to answer questions during Q&A and lunch were selected by the 8 to 9 transition committee. The committee worked to include a wide variety of students in grades 10 through 12 who participate in multiple activities throughout the school, clubs, sports, classes, in achieving a diverse grouping of students. The hope was to provide an answer to any questions that they may have been asked by the 8th grade superintendent. Elementary school conferences. We have sent a survey to all K-5 teachers and their comfortability in moving the conference date, so I'll bring those results in my recommendation to the next meeting in March. HERA asbestos annual notification. This is something that Mr. Briggs has brought us into, not that we were out of compliance, but we're supposed to publicly inform all the stakeholders of our management plan. Each school now has a manual that the public can view, the HERA management manual, and parents and faculty will be notified this week. And the law is highlighted there if you want it. The regulation is commonly known as a HERA, asbestos-containing materials in schools rule. We had this year we're having coordinated reviews and tier focus monitoring review. So we have a review of our English language department, our special ed department, civil rights, and then the grants, Title I and Title II, I believe. So I put the report in your documents from the Department of Education. Very pleased with the review. If you look down at the indicators, there are 18 indicators. The highest rating is commendable, and then the next highest is implemented. So we received implemented for all 18, with the exception of one, which was the program area of 6, English language education, 6, program exit and readiness. So the department will make that improvement and send a corrective action plan in. It's just that basically we need to have the default for exit criteria be the access test that the English learners take, rather than some other criteria that was being used. So I thought that was really good, and that's commendable. Recently, Mary Beth Hamill submitted a grant, the Math Skills Capital Grant, requesting $82,951 in funding to support the development of an innovation lab at the high school. The Math Skills Capital Grant Program, a competitive grant program, awards grants for the purchase of equipment to support vocational technical training. The equipment requested will be used to upgrade and expand courses in the STEM pathway of study at the Issue High School. Research completed by the grant writers indicates career technical education and training programs in the high demand areas of robotics, engineering, and manufacturing, aligned to the Central Massachusetts Workforce Blueprint Plan for Regional Economic and Workforce Development. So we have a higher education partner with the Mount Wachusett and Bay Systems and SolidWorks, and they provide letters of support for the proposed Panther Lab. So we're hoping that this grant comes through. This is our second round of applying for it. Mrs. Hamill worked on it, Mr. Tully contributed to it, Mrs. Warrington Cummins. There was quite a group of people that have been working on this. So hopefully we get it. Okay. The U.S. football grant I've already talked about. And then the Commissioners' Workshop. So on Tuesday, March 19th, Commissioner Riley is holding a workshop at UMass Amherst for Kairos, Mapping Our Way Forward, a conference to reimagine K-12 public education in Massachusetts. And I've been invited to attend, so I was pretty happy to receive an invitation. And the conference will include performances by Massachusetts public school students, an opening keynote by Charles Fidel, model classroom lessons, and sessions that dissect the statewide systems that can be leveraged to support quality instruction. So the new commissioner really has a vision of reimagining education. He understands fully that we have to have standardized testing to measure learning of students, but he also is very interested in the whole child programming that we have here in a lot of schools about performing arts, music, and physical education, and health, and athletics, and all of the programming that kids need in addition to academics. So looking forward to that day. So it says, by the end of the day, the Commissioner hopes to have an early blueprint of how the Massachusetts education community can realign political, regulatory, and financial structures to support strong, engaging instruction for all students. Andromeda 1, Mrs. Miska's very good at submitting to us her updates, and so the middle school rookie FTC robotics team, the Betelgeuse, qualified for Saturday's Massachusetts State Championship, where they ranked 4th in the state. So congratulations to head coach Patrick Doyle and the whole team. The high school robotics team Andromeda 1 made it to the semifinals and took home the event's most prestigious award, Chairman's Award, and already qualified for the New England Championship at WPI on April 11th through the 13th. I had the opportunity to go up and see them. They were in Salem, New Hampshire. They were in my backyard, 3 miles away. I had been showing me, I could have pushed the carriage there, no. So the kids were very excited, big crowd. I don't know if you've been to one, but they are exciting, and all the teams and people dress up, and then we went to the pit, which I love, so everybody creates their own little area. So it was good. And then last Thursday, a small team led by Andromeda won. So she talked about the grant there too, so I won't repeat. And then we want to congratulate Carolyn Cooper and Christopher Govain for their awards in acting at the 2019 METG Theater Celebration. And the college acceptances are in red. I'll read the new ones. Bridgewater State, Champlain College, Hofstra, Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts, Pennsylvania State University, Southern New Hampshire University, Westfield State, and Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Okay? And sports updates submitted by Steve Kendall. As you know, we have an ice hockey game tonight, and they are in the semifinals. Sean Simpson was named an All-Star. Congratulations. The girls basketball had a great season. They made it to the playoffs, but unfortunately fell to Northbridge. And we were at the game. Mr. Quinty was there, myself, Mrs. Bozak. That was quite an exciting game. We were sad to see the season end. Boys basketball won the Mid-Watch E Sportsmanship Award. That's just been announced. And And the Midland Wachusett All-Stars will be announced for both basketball teams this week. Dante Sakira was named a recipient of a Mass State Football Coaches Association Courageous Player Award. He'll be honored at a banquet in April. And spring sports registrations are ongoing at Family ID. We are hopeful we will have enough registrants to start a unified track and field team. So that's been really slow, so we're hoping that we get more kids. I think they told me, I was asking today what the number is. Not a lot of kids, like 10 to 15. So. But we know that our kids are asked to do a lot and want to play in a lot, so that's the hard thing.
Well,
and
one of those things where you gotta get that first, you gotta get the pump prime, right?
Yeah.
So the kids can really see that, this is gonna be a good, fun thing, and
Right.
what exactly is this?
Right,
And
right.
so hopefully that can,
it's kind of like going personally to kids and saying, hey, do you want to give it a shot to try it out and just help us get it going? So it's not that big of a commitment.
So like we have waivers for 7th and 8th graders to come over here and do certain sports, could 7th and 8th graders potentially be involved in that?
Well, that's a good.
Good question.
some of the waivers that, transition.
And then Darren Quinty was named captain of the Bromfield Air Shirley Littleton swim team for the next season. Congratulations to Darren. And so for this co-op team, that's the second student from our school that's been captain, right? Last year it was
Jared Magno.
Jared Magno, so that's pretty good, right? Yeah. And I guess it's a great video, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Okay,
The
sorry.
sportsmanship thing is, I think, worth further mention, because the football team was at North Central Mass Officials Day, was that the organization? Yeah. And then girls basketball, the MIA Community Service Award, and then now our boys team won this Mid-Watch E Award, so it's good stuff.
I knew about it about a week ago. Mr. Kendall said it was hush hush, but they're going to get
Quite
the
the
award.
turnaround from last year.
Right. And, I got to go to a few of the boys' basketball games, and, they didn't win many games this season, but the games that I saw, there was some at the end, and I gave them a lot of credit because they played just as hard, and they kept their chins up, even though in some games, they lost, by a significant amount, so. Anyways,
We also lost a lot of frustrating close ones. So.
Yeah, so it's hard when you're playing as hard as you can. And, you can say to everyone, it's not just about winning, but we know that you want to win. So that's right. That's why we keep score. Good point. All righty.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Malone. Lots of great news coming out of the district, as always. Kids are achieving wonderfully. All right, so we do have the option to certify tonight. We can also, we had discussed at a previous meeting, waiting until Monday, the 11th to certify as well. I think that's probably, we do have until the 13th to certify if necessary. So at least my opinion would be to wait until the 11th, just to allow Mr. Plunkett to make the changes that we did tonight. Also, we do clean copy. We do have negotiations continuing as well, so this would give the negotiating team a little bit more time as well. Is there any objection to waiting until the 11th? All right.
I would make a motion that we table the certification of the budget till March the 11th.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on that? Just that meeting will be a one-liner that will be 7 o'clock. Our negotiating team does have negotiations from 5 to 7. So we will, since they will be there, we'll meet them. They'll be at the central office conference room. The only item on the agenda will be an executive session to discuss any negotiation results, and then the second item will be to certify the budget. All those in, did you have something? No. Okay. So all those in favor of Mr. Reshoot's motion to table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, great. Dr. Nolan, you have policy FF, naming facilities.
Sure, the committee requested that we investigate some procedures we have a policy on naming, but, so Michelle went and did some research. We have a packet here of the different districts that she got information from. I've read through them. Yeah, and I think basically what it boils down to is that you have this process where somebody can make a request in writing to have a building or a space named after someone, and then they all have some kind of plan to say, so how do you put it out to the public? So how do we put it to the public? Is anyone else that wants to come forward and name the library space? So our request is for the library space to be, right. So we'd ask, we put that out public. Some have a screening committee, so once, and then when you put out other requests, you do ask, if you look at, if you flip through to Acton Boxborough, there's a few questions that people are required to, what is the reason you're suggesting this person? Why is this a good name for the facility? And what information about this person will assist in making a decision, and so on and so forth. So basically that's kind of the format, and then if you wanted to have a screening committee, make that final decision, or just bring it back to the school committee. It's kind of.
There was kind of some interesting things that the people who would be maybe bringing stuff forward should be the community, or maybe someone from the current faculty. So I think that's interesting, because they just don't have somebody who's walking in the street who doesn't know our town. So there's a lot of interesting things you could do there. I thought they were quite interesting.
Yeah, so some dealt with, it was interesting with the approaches. Some of them were when the committee seeks to name a facility, which doesn't happen when somebody comes to look at caption. Basically what happens is somebody wants to name something, and you're automatically in a reaction mode to try to deal with what was put forward. You know, so I think taking a look, I've got some notes, I got more to take a look at through the rest of these here. I'm trying to pick bits and pieces I kind of like, but
I thought the committee was interesting.
the only thing I saw from the thread that was running through mine is like, delay is good when you run into this, you know, because you have to figure out what you're naming and why you're naming it. And even here, when we talk about certain, what you have like, Harold G. Norton Memorial Field. You know, if you ask the senior who Harold G. Norton is, there's nothing so easy. You really have to put something in that says, look, if you're going to name something after somebody, then you really need some sort of plaque of explanation. This is why you're doing that. I mean, he's a great choice. You say, well, this is what he did for the schools, and this is what he was capable of. You know, we have a son in here, and, you know, his son would clearly agree that he was a better man. You know, he had all these things going, and how you can pattern your life after what he did, what he sacrificed, places he could have, choices he could have made that could have advanced him financially or politically, and he decided to devote his life to this, that sort of stuff. You know, how much, does anyone know anything about Laura Levitt?
My main name was Levitt, but we didn't spell it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but
I was L-E-A-V.
so as one note I had in the corner of my notes on all this stuff is that I think we'll first try to put something together for Harold Norton and Laura Levitt. We'll try to use, let's start with something that we already have named. So maybe that will give us some clues to what we'd like to see in the policy later on.
Well, that is a good suggestion to have a plaque, because as years go by, people, generations come and go, and people, who's Harold G. Norton? And then everyone's learned about it because of Robert Norton coming forward, right?
Exactly.
But otherwise, no one, right? Otherwise, you knew he was superintendent or something, and you really didn't know a whole lot about him, right?
Well, I think the other thing that we talked about when we were at the school was we talked about putting stones around the flagpole. And there was a plan for that, I don't know if I can put it, so that someone says, oh yes, we have this wonderful way to publicize your person, and this nice stone, and the amount of money, over a certain amount, we'd be happy to accept it. So there's a lot of ways to do it without naming the building, the science classroom, and whatever.
So obviously it's the first read for the committee, so maybe the committee will come back and make your suggestions, and then we'll develop the procedures and steps for doing it.
Yes.
And then, in the meantime, you suggest we get a plaque for both Harold Norton and Laura Levitt?
Let me tell you, I'll talk to Tom Casey, who probably better than any, and who wrote absolutely superior article of the public spirit about 6 or 7 years ago. He spent a lot of background, even personally, so I can get a lot of information back. Laura Levitt, I got nothing, but we can dig around and find out why.
I saw something somewhere, I just have to remember where it was.
Latin teacher.
Was it in,
I just Googled it. Wiki one, their high school Latin teacher.
was it that dedication program I gave to you from,
Laura Levitt, that's where it is, I have it. There's a logo.
yeah, the old high school dedication program. That was not from the McGuan family, gave that to me because they found it when they were moving, and I passed it along.
It talks about. All right, so you're gonna get that. Okay, copies for everybody. All right. Thank you.
I just remembered that. I thought the one in there, but I couldn't remember where I saw it.
Good memory.
Good team. Let's team up.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Very great. So thank you, Michelle, for doing all the research on that.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Good problems to have. We're trying to figure out how to name these other people, give them a place to have their name permanently. Anywho, bullying policy, Jen.
This is our first foray into that. I had some notes here, as I was going through it, on page 2. I just noticed on the last bullet in that top paragraph there. I think that comes into play more now that we're issuing the Chromebooks. The importance that people are dealing with just personal devices. And now, basically, any use of the Chromebook for any of this puts it in our bailiwick, which is just a slant that when we wrote this, wasn't really in play. Right? Which I don't see need to make the changes, and just an observation I had there. On the section also on page 2 on reporting, the last sentence says the target shall, however, not be subject to discipline for failing to report bullying. And I took a look and go, it's hard to be the person standing by too, and I understand that's kind of how bullying works. But the person watching or knowledgeable is also in a precarious position, so I thought, I'd like to see what you think about changing it to students, however, will not be subject to discipline for failing to report bullying.
Well, I think too, as I'm reading it, so we have this bullying plan that was in, and some of this is regulation model language that we took from the Department of Education, so I'm wondering if what's in here aligns to what's in here as well,
I
right?
was trying to read that back and forth.
Yeah, so that might be something, look at the language in here and make sure that we have the same language.
Yeah, because it's hard to, I mean, it's a hard thing to report bullying for a kid who's involved. I certainly wouldn't want to discipline them for not, for being in a difficult situation. So that's my thought on that, so y'all can think about that. On page 3, on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph, it talks about if we think there are criminal charges, and I added that before, in the last sentence, it says the local law enforcement agency shall be notified. I just added the superintendent and the local law enforcement agency shall be notified, because I think the superintendent better know about that first, because this says basically the principal or designee could do it. And I want to make sure that the superintendent gets notification before or at the same time.
Sorry, does that get covered though in the previous sentence? Where it talks about the principal shall consult with the school resource officer and superintendent to determine? I mean, I have no problem with the change, I'm just wondering if it gets covered by the previous sentence or not.
I'm sure if you get something that's here, there'll be a lot of discussion. I just want to make sure that the superintendent was notified with the enforcement agency at the same time. Just think about that.
Oops, sorry, Jessica.
If the principal shall consult with the school's resource officer, then isn't the resource officer required to file charges? And that's before the superintendent?
No, so I'm looking at, in the plan itself, the model language that we have, that, if you go to page 11, nurse law enforcement. So typically what happens in the school, if you get a report of an incident of bullying, you're supposed to report it, right? It's reported. And so it's really the discretion to report it to the police, because there is a law against bullying, so kids can be charged with it. So if you look at that paragraph, it says, at any point after receiving a report of bullying or retaliation, including after an investigation, if the principal or designee has a reasonable basis to believe that criminal charges may be pursued against the aggressor, the principal will notify the local law enforcement agency. And
So
those will be
that's
consistent with the requirements of 603 and locally established agreements with the local law enforcement
So
agency.
that's without notifying the superintendent first. You go straight to the law enforcement. Right?
Yeah, they always do notify me first if they're gonna involve the police. But it should be clear.
But it should be clear.
It should, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. And, you know, Jim, it's one of the things we're gonna be talking to the principal about, Mr. Perry and myself, is, so you brought up the bullying, and then there was in the news coverage that parent who had the daughter who committed suicide, and she was, you know, talking about how many kids are still coming to school being bullied and no one knows about it, it's, you know, silent, and we know it happens. And there's been some reports of bullying and so on and so forth, so I'd like to do something with the schools to make like anti-bullying week, maybe like the first week of April or something in our schools to really, because just, you know, just simple things in each school, maybe on the intercom in the morning, there's a message, you know, kids, we talk about reminding kids what bullying is and what a bystander is, and because sometimes what happens when you take those kind of proactive actions and efforts in a school, there are kids that may be bullied that are just being silent and now have a safe, you know, feel safer to come forward, or the bystanders to report it, so that we don't have kids that, you know, so miserable or feeling uncomfortable and don't, you know, kids don't always want to tell their parents they're being bullied because they want their parents to think they're really well liked and that, you know, nobody would dislike them. And because they don't want to hurt their parents, so it can be really a real silent word I'm looking for. It could-
Well, it can be totally hidden. It's not just science.
Yeah,
It's totally hidden
you know-
because you're not just talking about what you're observing in school and what someone's observing in school. You're talking about everything that's going on the internet. And
Right,
that's more
that's the other
huge than
thing.
anything that's probably.
It never
in
ends,
school.
right? It never ends. Working with our school departments school counseling departments to be more, proactive going into the classrooms, and because if you go in and you talk to kids about, things like, everyone wants to be with the popular student, right? Everybody wants to hang out with the popular student, but they're still going to classes and say, the friend sitting right next to you that you haven't spoken with, if you might take a few minutes to turn and talk and speak, you might find that's the best friend you're ever going to have. And the popular person, this is your match, this is your good friend. Don't discount others, but those are kinds of things you need to create an awareness for kids.
So isn't that approaching it from the positive attitude and not the negative attitude of bullying, and we have bullying and bullying is bad? Isn't the approach really of like, I'm going to be kind to Jonathan too?
Oh yeah, for the bullying thing, but there's a lot of extensions and tentacles that, kids, you make them feel safe and you say it's okay to talk to Bill. And you might really like it. And, it's a lot of work wanting to be around the most popular student all the time and worrying if you're going to get invited or not invited. If you think of all the dynamics that happen, there's a lot to it. It's very complex. And
my friend's daughter is having her 16th birthday, and I asked him what they were going to do. He says she has planned her birthday parties from the time she was in kindergarten, and 2 or 3 years they had everybody in the class.
So back to the point, just talking about just doing some real proactive work in our schools. I think it's needed. I think, it's something, the whole social emotional piece, the whole social emotional learning, as I've talked about, is really a focus, and we need to do a better job at it. We're going to start just with an anti-bullying campaign in the school. That makes sense? Yeah.
If I get into the...
That's it, sorry, Jim.
No, that's good. No, good to start. The fourth paragraph on the bottom of each school.
Is it still page 3?
It's on page 3, right. So it's the last sentence, and that says, the monthly report shall be provided to the superintendent. That's onerous, and hopefully there aren't enough incidents that would require another report. So what I put in, so we don't violate our own policies, a report will be provided to the superintendent as part of the principal's annual performance review. The big stuff will rise to the top. The smaller stuff, the principals can handle it on their own. You don't need to be informing the superintendent of what's happening. But as a part of the annual review, there'll be a page in there that talks about bullying. And they can set up a parameter so that at their review time. The training assessment, I don't know. And the only thing I noticed in there is that school employees and volunteers, and I didn't know if that included or any specific discussions ensue when we hire coaches. Because some coaches come in internally and some come externally. And I don't know if there's ever a discussion about this, because on some teams, it's a competition for playing time and for a bunch of other stuff, and it can be difficult, especially if, you've been on a team for a while and the coach is bringing up new players and you feel it's your time, and all of a sudden some bright shining star comes out of middle school and you're losing minutes. But I don't know if that's ever talked with the athletic director and the coaches at all. Maybe it is, but.
Yeah. Do you know if it's supposed to say that's part of the training?
Right. And the last thing that I know here, because we don't want to make something that's more work for everybody. As far as a certain amount of training happens with our staff here, but I always thought the thing that's most effective, they do such good job with short film spots that I'm sure there's a lot of stuff out there with situational things. And in classroom, as you're putting time together, if there are, because we do that pantry block option maybe a couple times, there can be a couple of short films out with like breakout groups to talk about certain things, because it's to have a teacher or anybody go out there and present to high school kids about bullying. As soon as you say we're going to talk about bullying, you're going to get like bullying bad. be good, bullying bad. But if it's like, I would just want to let the film, it's like, what do you think about this kid? What do you think about this kid? Just to let some of that discussion. I think that makes this go easier, because overall, you're trying to create an environment where it doesn't occur, not an environment where you can turn people into making it happen. You know, I think the approach for that is different. So I think if you're trying to do something like that, then I think the softer the training is, the better off you are. And the more open-ended you are, more willing to listen instead of speak, the more effective it will be. That's what I got. So think about that.
Did you have some, you want to bring it back with those changes? I got lost in one or two of them.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of what you said and then making sure it aligns to that document there.
Yeah,
right?
gives people the time to kind of look at both.
Yeah, no.
So I'll give the changes to Michelle, and Dr. Malone can review them, make sure that they're not overstepping anything.
Sure.
So if I can just, one thing I just noticed on page 3, the paragraph that starts with the investigation, the last sentence, at a minimum, I think it's supposed to be minimum, but it's
Minimum.
So that needs just to spell, just a quick change on the word there. The only other thing I just on your idea of with the performance review, I think it would just be good to make it clear that it's not part of the performance review, just done at the performance review time. We don't need to be tying, I mean, obviously it has some relation to a principal's evaluation, but it shouldn't be part of their like, you know, just make sure it's clear that they're not, we haven't introduced a new thing. It's just, hey, while you're putting together all this other documentation, so put your bullying reports together too. And hopefully there are none. All right.
So on the last page there, it talks about annual, the publication of this document, I'm assuming. So it's like the bullying prevention and intervention plan should be posted on the Air Shirley Regional School District's website. So I'm assuming that that's this. Right? Most of it comes from what's in the state, and it's just taken from all that, right?
Basically, this is the state's, and they came out with the law, it's their model contract.
Right. So I was looking at the preface, and it seems like that in the second paragraph, it says, well, the first paragraph is very good, they will not discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, national origin, age, disability, housing status, or limited English speaking ability. In the second paragraph, it says we recognize that certain students are more vulnerable, and it goes through quite a few, but I'm not sure that we need to say that at all. Why would we focus and single out any of those? It's almost like, well, I'm not in any of those, so how come I've been bullied? It seemed like it was an unnecessary sentence, that whole first sentence. And then isn't the district will identify specific steps to create a safe and supportive environment, not the school or the district, but the district. Because we're a district, each individual school is not going to create their own thing, right? The school community and all students, all the rest, that's good. It seemed like that listing all those ways that we should look to see if those particular people are bullied. Other people can be bullied too and not fall into any of those. I'm not sure you can say that certain students are going to be more bullied than any others necessarily. It seemed like it was a lot unnecessary.
Ed plans now, there's a whole section on an ed plan because.
But this isn't an ed plan, this is the whole community.
Yeah.
This is the whole community, this is not an ed plan. This is everybody.
No, I know, but the bullying law is directly linked to the IEP, and those are the kids that are more vulnerable. Do you know what I'm
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I'm not vulnerable, because I'm shy. It doesn't say anything about shy people. You know, so I mean, you're limiting, first of all, you're identifying people for someone who reads that, right? And then you're limiting to not everybody.
So Joyce, you made some good points, I understand what you're saying. So in other words, we've already, in the prior statement,
Prior
said we will
statement,
not discriminate on
in
any
your
of those
highlighted
things.
statement,
And then
you
we
did.
go down to say, but you may be a target of bullying if you are one of these things.
Well, so if I'm looking for a target, I'm gonna read this list, and I'm gonna go right down.
I see. So Charlie's gonna, we'll look up, we're assuming that this.
We don't have tall people, short people, green people, you know.
People can't say.
Just to keep going on and on and on. And it's really everybody,
Yes,
you
yes.
know.
I understand.
Anybody can be a
Yeah.
target. So
I understand what it kind of
awful word
suggests,
for no
or,
good
you know,
reason.
I get where you're coming from.
It's almost bringing up things that you could be prejudiced against.
Okay, we'll get back to you.
And it's just, a lot of, just for stuff that just isn't necessary. It clouds it, I think.
Thank you much. All right, so I have no chairman's notes this evening. I do have one thing, other topics not reasonably anticipated because we like our meeting days. March 20th, there is a NIFA presentation here. It's also at our night of our school committee meeting in Shirley. I know there are multiple members that are have children targeted for that NIFA thing and may want to attend that as well. So, is there any interest in moving the meeting, our scheduled meeting, to the 21st? Same time, same place, just move it a day so that everyone can attend. Who wants to attend the NIFA meeting can. I'm not sure, Dr. Moore, we don't have too loaded of agenda for that night, correct? Because then we're going to have 2 weeks in a row of meetings.
We're gonna have that anyway. I can't attend on the 20th or the 21st.
Okay. We'll figure out some of this morning.
I can't, I mean, I'm available on the 21st, and you're available.
Jan, 21st, good? All right, so with that then, I'll take a motion to move it to the 21st.
So we have the 11th and the 21st, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So there's a move to motion for the 21st, is there a second?
21st is in Shirley.
Yes, Shirley Middle School, 6:30. Is there a second to the motion? Second, thank you. Moved and seconded. All those in favor of moving March 20th to March 21st, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I'm abstaining.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
Can we give a location for the other meeting?
The 11th meeting will be at the central office conference room at Page Hill. Just because that's where negotiations will be finishing up, so, all right, Joyce, you are on with announcements.
This is so much fun. Announcements as of March 5th. Wednesday, the March 6th, progress reports issued for grades 6 to 12, so all those progress reports that people are worried about, don't take them home. Saturday, March 9th, Page Hilltop Second Annual Comedy Night, 7 o'clock at the Devon's Common Center, and do we know where someone might buy tickets for that?
You can contact the main office of Page Hilltop.
Main office, Page Hilltop, thank you. Tuesday, March 12th, the Shirley Regional High School Spring Concert at 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, right here in the auditorium of the high school. Wednesday, March 13th, half-day school for grades preschool to 12 and professional development for teachers. Wednesday, March 13th is the Shirley Regional High School District Arts Night, which I think is a much more interesting thing than what's on here, which is 6 to 8. And so that would be next week. Saturday, March 16th, the annual Air Shirley PTO St. Patrick's Day Bash, 7 to 10 o'clock at the Air Billiards Cafe. It was a lot of fun last year, don't miss it. Saturday and Sunday, March 16th and 17th, Robotics Week 3 competition, all-day competition at Reading Memorial High School. in Reading at 9 a.m., starting at 9 a.m. I think it goes all day, so if you can make it. Tuesday, March 19th, Winter Athletic Awards Banquet, 6 o'clock at the Air Shirley Regional High School. Wednesday, March 20th, which is now, since a minute ago, has been changed to Thursday, March 21st, is the Regional School Committee meeting, 6:30 at the middle school. Wednesday, March 20th, the MEFA College Admissions Seminar, 7 o'clock right here at the LGI room at the high school. Friday, March 22nd, Air Shirley Regional Class of 2020 Talent Show, 6 to 9 o'clock. Has anybody seen any previews for that? You can tell us about. Saturday, March 23rd, Friends of Football Comedy Night. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Show starts at 7:30 at the War Memorial Building in Shirley. And where would we buy tickets for that?
I'm Dave Dentino.
And how much would those tickets be?
I'm sorry?
And how much are they?
They're $20 a piece.
Okay. I will not give you too many more commercials like that. Monday, March...
UIOF like it is annually?
Yes.
Bring your own food?
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to say about that? Okay.
It's a great night.
3 comedians from Boston.
3 comedians from Boston, there you go. That's how you should title it. Monday, March 25th, report cards issued to grades preschool to 5. Thursday, March 28th, half-day school for grades preschool to 5 and evening parent conferences. Friday, March 29th, half-day school for grades preschool to 5 and afternoon parent conferences. Big night, Friday to Sunday, April 5th to 7th is Mary Poppins Jr. Friday and Saturday nights at 7 o'clock, Sunday is at 2 o'clock, and the middle school auditorium. Monday, April 15th, Patriots Day, no school. April vacation week continues through April 19th. So no school, April vacation week, Monday through Friday. Thank you.
Michelle, could you get in touch with Mr. Christie or Mr. Ketterer, because there's some music stuff that's not on here. So for example, tomorrow's a jazz band thing, then on April 6th, the concert band's competing at Micah. And on the 7th, the choir is competing at Micah. I forget exactly where each location is, but Mr. Ketterer had that for you. April 6th and 7th.
Just to pitch our friends at Janice Bresnahan, May 19th here, and the Holdenwood will be September 29th, the Shirley Town Center.
No, Michelle, we need those back on.
May 19th. May 19th.
Somebody else had to read those.
Yeah, Holdenwood's registration opened March 1st. We're super excited to register on the roll number for Holdenwood registering. With that, I have nothing else. Anyone else? Are we good?
I would make a motion not to do anything else that we quit this at 8:04.
Motion to adjourn made by Joyce. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And we are adjourned. 8:05. Thank you.
Thank you.